How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Wardy, and as you can see, we're talking all things Mets, and I'm beyond pumped up to get into this one, folks, because we're breaking down 5 Mets trade targets this MLB offseason. We know David Stearns has been plenty active in the trade front to this point, and he will certainly make moves this offseason aside from the free agent market. So the question lies, which trade pieces could actually find themselves landing in Queens, and what are the type of guys that the Mets will be going out of their way to pursue? Well, we have 5 people in particular that, for more reasons than one, make plenty of sense for this Mets team. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Starting off at number 5, we have easily one of the hottest commodities in the trade market today, and that is veteran right-hander from the Chicago White Sox and 27-year-old Dylan Cease. Cease, who still has 2 years left on his contract, is certainly going to be appealing for a lot of teams, including the LA Dodgers, who have already reportedly shown interest in Cease as they desperately need starting pitching help. Well, so do the Mets. And while he's not going to come at an easy price, Cease's downfall in the second half of the 2023 season does play in the favor of teams looking to acquire him and not wanting to give up as many assets. He was at an all-time high value-wise at the trade deadline. White Sox made the great mistake per usual, like they do every year, because they're such a poorly ran organization. Unfortunately, they did not trade him away. He had a brutal end to the 2023 campaign, but do not get it twisted. Yes, he has a 4.58 ERA. Yes, his velo ticked down by 1 or so. Yes, the horizontal break in his slider ticked down a little bit down the stretch, but as long as he's healthy, you love what you see here in Dylan Cease. One of the best fastballs in the game, easily one of the best breaking balls in the game. When he is on, he's a Cy Young caliber pitcher, which is exactly what he was, as he got Cy Young votes just a year prior in 2020 with a 2.20 ERA. It was disgusting Southside with those White Sox, and so many teams would love to have him. And as someone who's been a personal fan of Cease for a number of years during his time in Chicago, I certainly would love to see him here in Queens. So why does he make sense for the Mets? Well, one, he's definitely going to bounce back over next season versus what he did this past year in Chicago. Definitely needs a more competent infield and outfield defense behind him, which is not what he has had nearly to the degree in recent years there with the White Sox, but has the life on the velo. He has the off-speed pitches. He has that nasty breaking ball, and he fits the bill as only a 27-year-old with multiple years of control. Still fits the bill for the 2024 Mets, but 2025 and beyond. The Mets are not looking for grizzled vets and Verlander and Scherzers again. They're looking for guys that have high upside and hopefully have multiple years of control. Cease fits the bill. Yes, it will not be easy to acquire him, but it would be foolish for the Mets to not, at minimum, do their due diligence, as he's one of the best names out there in the starting pitching market. At number 4, we have another hot commodity in the trade market, probably a hotter commodity actually when looking at rumblings lately, and that is Tyler Glasnow, starting pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, why is he such a hot commodity? Well, 1, he's very talented. 2, hit career high in starting innings this year because he's dealt with plenty of ailments, including Tommy John surgery, which he came back from entering the 2023 season. But more than anything, he's on the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays do not like to pay guys, and he's owed over $20 million this offseason. Rest assured, the Rays are not going to pay that. They're going to trade his butt away, and the Mets have already been active in trade talks with the Rays, not for him per se, but for his teammate, reportedly Manuel Margot. Now, why would the Mets go out of their way to trade for Manuel Margot, who's nothing more than a role player, 4th type outfielder, owed $10 million this offseason? Well, it makes a lot more sense if you pair a starting pitcher like Tyler Glasnow along with him, regardless on what you do in the free agent market. Glasnow, who still has so much to give at the young age of 30, has ridiculous life on the velo, beautiful command when he is right, nasty slider. There's so much to like about Glasnow's potential, and yes, there are fair arguments and concerns given his lack of health throughout his career. How durable can he be? He's only pitched 120 innings once in his career. That was this season. Can we expect him to be ramped up to 150, 175, even north of 200 at some point? You know, that might be a tall task to ask for right now, but what we do know is that Glasnow, when he's right, when he's on, is one of the better starters in the game today. So many things to love about him and his arsenal, and I thoroughly would enjoy the idea of having him here in Queens in the middle of this rotation along with Kodai Senga, hopefully Yoshinobu Yamamoto, just to name a few. But rest assured, Glasnow will be traded this offseason, and yes, the Mets will be involved. And at number 3, we have one of the most talented and truly best pitchers in all the game today, and Cy Young Award winner from the Milwaukee Brewers and Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes, Tyler Glasnow, what do these guys have alike? There are 2 really good starting pitchers that are likely not going to be with their current club either this offseason or by the end of the 2024 year. Why is that? Both these teams don't like to spend money, and Burnes has been certainly not happy with how the Brewers have operated in recent years, including arbitration over the past calendar year. Was not happy about how that process went. Was very public about it too, and this is a Brewers ownership that has been stubborn, that has shown the willingness to continue to be stubborn. So it's hard to imagine Burnes in a Milwaukee Brewers uniform at the end of the 2024 season, if not this offseason, if not by the MLB trade deadline. It just feels inevitable that he will be parted with. So the Mets, among many teams, would love to have Corbin Burnes in their rotation. Yes, it'll cost a pretty penny to land him, and yes, there's a risk with that for a rental, but what the Mets have, they have money, and that's something that is certainly appealing to a Burns that's looking for a big payday should he hit the free agent market a year from now. But this is not only a Cy Young pitcher, but someone who had a 3.39 ERA in just under 200 innings this past year. He has a reliability, he has the consistency on his side, which makes him more appealing than the Glass Nows, the Ceases of the world. Yes, he's a little bit older than Cease, but the potential here with Burns, long-term contract, certainly looks great for wherever he may land, either this offseason, MLB trade deadline, or at absolute worst, next offseason when he will officially be a free agent. But Corbin Burns, one of the best pitchers in the game today, with plenty of life on the velo with the fastball, but more importantly, those off-speed pitches, one right, are disgusting. One of the best starters in the game today. Rekindling that relationship with David Stearns would be brilliant, and as long as the Brewers don't show a stubbornness to part with him with the Mets because we pried away David Stearns, which very well could happen, then you have to love the odds here of a David Stearns who knows Burns best more than any other exec and any other organization not named Milwaukee. The Mets already have an upper hand there. They have an edge, and on top of that, David Stearns knows the farm really well in Milwaukee, knows what they would be looking for most, and would be able to provide the best possible trade package, in my opinion, versus other clubs who don't have the same understanding of what Milwaukee is looking for the way that David Stearns certainly does. And at number 2, we have the biggest name available in the trade market this MLB offseason. Look no further than superstar himself, Juan Soto of the San Diego Padres. Soto put up a ridiculous campaign in 2023. We're looking at 35 home runs, 109 RBIs, a 275 average, a north of 900 to 1,000 OPS, a 155 WRC+, 55% better than the average hitter. You look at his career stat line. Since he came into the bigs as a teenager, World Series champion, dominating in the World Series against those Astros, has been one of, if not the best bat in the game today since he arrived, and he's only at the young age of 25 now. Soto, what he can provide for the Mets would be beyond what we could ever imagine, to not only have power behind Alonso Lindor, but have consistency, have superstar level, hopefully for the next decade plus, which is what Soto would be looking for in a massive long-term deal. And while extensions aren't guaranteed, which is why I have him number 2 and number 1 and not number 1 in this video, because if the Mets shell out all these assets and say he does end up walking a year from now, while I don't see it happening, it's still a possibility. That is the risk you take with someone like Juan Soto via trade here, knowing he's a rental, and that is why I do not have him number 1, because he, at the end of the day, is still not a certainty until that trade happens and you find out should he be extended. But what is a certainty is that there are only a select few owners in baseball that will be willing to cough up the dough it will take to land Juan Soto, north of $500 million on a massive long-term deal, and rest assured the Mets and Steve Cohen are one of those teams. So keep an eye out for the Mets. They are a scary possibility to land Juan Soto, according to Jeff Passan this offseason, and while the Yankees look like a potential favorite because they certainly have a nice assets in their farm, do not sleep on the Mets here as a player. It wouldn't shock us whatsoever if the Mets found themselves in bidding war, not only for Yoshinobu Yamamoto in the free agent market with the Yanks between, of course, their Cashman, Stearns, Steinbrenner, Cohen, but we could see similar type of battle here between the two teams for the superstar himself and Juan Soto. And at number 1, we have one of the most talented players in the game today at the young age of 26, Luis Robert for the Chicago White Sox. Robert is not going to be easy to acquire whatsoever. Yes, the White Sox are selling this offseason, but they also have a limit. Robert is someone that they, of course, would like to keep given his team control, but should a team give them an offer that they maybe simply can't refuse or just want to go in a different direction, the Mets have to be involved here. This is one of those rare exceptions where you give up an arm and a leg and everything else imaginable for him, not named Francisco Alvarez, pretty much. That is how talented Robert is. 38 home runs, only 80 RBIs because he had no help around him this year, 20 stolen bags, a 264 average, or well over 900 OPS, 4 years left of team control on his contract, one of the best center fielders in the game today. You can put him in center, you could brand him in the corner, or you could flip-flop, however you want to go about things, because I know you just signed him a long-term to be your starting center fielder, but the Mets, they have holes in the corners for the most part, so Nimmo, as he loses his legs over time, could fit best in that left field, which is how he started his tenure as a New York Metropolitan in the outfield. Robert, I cannot say enough amazing things about this guy. He's not just a human highlight reel that we've seen in the home run derby, the all-star games alike, but is someone that could provide so much for this Mets team between on the bases, putting the ball in play, the power behind Alonso and Lindor, the elite defense. The possibilities are endless with someone like this. Yes, it'll be very costly to acquire him, but I firmly believe that would be beyond worth it, knowing the guarantee that you get in someone like him who's only 26, that you have for another 4 years, plenty time, plenty potential to extend him on a long-term deal. Luis Robert, if he's going to be traded this MLB offseason, the New York Mets have to do everything in their power to at least be involved here. And that'll do it for this video, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts, questions, and reactions in the comments down below. Do you agree or disagree with these top 5 as guys that make so much sense for the Mets for various reasons? Which guys would you hope to see land in Queens over others? Do you think that they are all unlikely, likely? However you're feeling, drop them down below. And if you have any other players in mind, drop them as well. Really does mean a lot. And stay tuned for consistent Mets coverage all off season long. We are your #1 source here on YouTube, not directly affiliated with the Mets or SNY. Thanks to all you amazing Mets fans out there for the endless support the past 3 years. We have a lot of content rolling out. So again, thank you so much for watching. I'm beyond thankful for you all as we get into Thanksgiving tomorrow at the time of recording this. So happy holiday to you all that celebrate. I'll talk to you again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.